with time is of the essence with those attendees who are present. And we're looking, starting out with your Paragon MLS account, because we have integrations with Paragon MLS. This is how you're going to access your transaction desk account. Under the Resources section, in the top third of the screen, right-hand side, Resources, you notice that there's an Instanet. Under the Resources link, you see Instanet. Instanet Solutions is the name of our company, Instanet Solutions. We've been providing these services to the real estate industry for over 20 years now, 420,000 licensed users of our transaction desk platform, Instanet Solutions. So they chose Instanet as the resource link. And we call this a single sign-in or one-click sign-in, because you click here one time, click, and you're going to be automatically logged into your transaction desk account. All of your Paragon MLS account is going to be passed to us, your name, your office affiliation, your contact numbers and email addresses, and all of that information is passed to us from Paragon to Transaction Desk during that first sign-in. Each subsequent time you click here to log back into your Transaction Desk account, any information or updates that you made to Paragon will be, again, refreshed into your Transaction Desk account. So one-click sign-in. And I'm going to feign that click, but by clicking here, click, we're going to be logged in to our Transaction Desk account. Pardon me here just for a second. Make sure I want to do this right. Because we want to go through first what we refer to as the terms of service. So when you click there, Resources section, one-click sign-in, the first time that you click on that link, that Instanet link under the Resources, you're going to be brought to this pre-flight system check. Because remember, Transaction Desk is entirely web-based application. We'll make sure that you're going to get the best browsing session when you're on Transaction Desk platform. And the first thing that you want to allow is pop-ups. Because I can almost guarantee that the first time that you log into Transaction Desk, that pop-up is going to be blocked. So please do always allow pop-ups from Transaction Desk. It's a big step. And you can see bottom third of the screen, left-hand side, pop-up blocker, and I have a green check because, yes, I do. My computer allows pop-ups, or my browser allows pop-ups from Transaction Desk. If yours doesn't, you will get a red X. With that red X, you'll get instructions on how to take a corrective action with a link or a download to take that corrective action. Adobe plugin, JavaScript and cookie. Anytime you receive a red X, where I here have a green check, anytime you're going to get a red X, you're going to get instructions or links to take the corrective action. One thing I wanted to talk about, though, is the browser and operating system. I'm on a Windows-based PC using Vista operating. Vista, Windows 7, Windows XP, all those different Windows platforms. If you're using a Windows PC, Internet Explorer, Firefox, or Chrome, you have the choice of the big three browsers. We've been developing for Internet Explorer the longest, so just kind of keep that in mind. All three are supported. Internet Explorer is probably the most stable just because we've been developing for it the longest. If you are a Mac user or have a Mac device, an iPad 1, 2, or 3, or a Mac laptop or desktop, please use Safari browser. Mac users, please use Safari browser. So that'll be the pre-flight. You're going to run through that just the first time you log in. I can show you, if you're interested, how you can rerun that from any computer. But otherwise, we're going to click here, top third of the screen, right, click here to continue, to move through the pre-flight and into the terms of service. Pardon my mouse for a second, because you do want to agree to the terms, familiarize yourself, of course, but accept those terms of service. Basically agree not to resell our product, and you'll be fine. And in the bottom right corner, bottom third right-hand corner, clicking on the arrow, action arrow to continue, to successfully log in to your Transaction Desk account. And each subsequent time after that first login, you'll just immediately come, you won't do the pre-flight or the terms, you'll just log directly into your Transaction Desk account. And what we refer to as the Lite view, the less is more approach. We start you off with the less is more, and then if you're interested or tech forward, tech savvy, you can always go into Pro. It's the same exact account, just more features and services. If Lite is less is more, the most commonly used features, then Transaction Desk Pro is more is better. Just all of the services in the web-based platform. First things first, I always like to give you the quick safety blanket of the Forms library. Middle third of the screen, left-hand side, Forms. Because you can access the individual form library. You can type up one individual form, or you can print out an individual form. So Forms, top third of the screen, left-hand side, you see black font there, Forms. Search for forms by name or unique identifier. So if you know the form name you're looking for, type it into the search for forms. If you know what folder that we may be added to, see that there is different forms from Minnesota, local associations, even Fannie Mae forms now. So all of these different folders contain these different forms. But we're just going to, and then you would just click on that little search magnifying glass to search for a form by name or unique identifier. Otherwise, it's just alphabetical order, and we're viewing the first 10 forms of 106 that we have access to in alphabetical order. Middle third of the screen, right-hand side, you see some blue icons. And at the top of that one icon, it says print blank. So I could print any of these forms to paper. So let me just show you one of those. I'm going to click on, we'll just click on the addendum for exclusive right to sell. It's a print icon. And when I click on that blue icon, it's going to convert our online fillable form to a PDF document. We do have integrations with Adobe Acrobat PDF. Here's one of them. It's going to convert that online fillable form, where the keyboard meets the contract. It's just going to convert it to an Adobe Acrobat reader. It's non-fillable at this point. And I simply use the right mouse button or double-click it with your Mac mouse or right-click it with your PC mouse to get to that print function. You can save it offline for future use, save it to your desktop or laptop, but otherwise print it to paper. So there are all these traditional methods to access and work with your online forms. So upper third of the screen, right-hand corner, just clicking back to return to forms. Remember, this is print blank form. Right-click on the form to access that print feature. Print it to paper. Handwrite it and take appropriate steps. Otherwise, returning to the forms library. Again, library view, one form at a time. Blank forms. If we're typing them up, if we click on that create new, but if you want to type up a form, what we really want to do is just click on the form name. All these are active links, and when we click on that active link to the form, we click on that addendum to exclusive right, when we click on that form name, that link, it's going to show us the details of this form, any versions that we've created previously that we want to re-access, any new form versions that we want to create now. And this is a phrase that I want you to kind of start recognizing. I would like to. You're going to see it throughout the transaction desk platform. And every time you see it, it's going to be in association with the drop-down menu. And the one option that we have right now is to create a new version of this form. We can launch this form in our forms editor, where the keyboard meets the contract. We're going to look at that in a transaction file, but I just want to give you the sense of where to go. All right, you talked me into it. We'll just click here quickly, clicking here on go, that action arrow to go to Forms Editor to create a version of this form for our new seller client, or maybe it's an addendum, so it's on our existing selling client. But this is Forms Editor, and I figured I would just get it out of the way so that it relieves any anxiety of, the replacing, web forms and how much different it's going to be. Hopefully not very different at all. All the fields are fillable. All the blue fields are fillable. You can type or paste into the form fields. I'm activating that date field at the top. You can certainly pick from the calendar. Maybe I should show the get you 2 for 1. Pick calendar from the pop-up message. That is a pop-up message. And maybe you could type something like on or before, something to that effect. So it allows you these formatting features to type or pick the dates from a calendar, tab key to go through, and just very common forms editor functions to tab, type, and tab. Can you click with your mouse? Sure you can. But you can also use that tab key to go from one fillable field to the next. Type and tab, tab and type. But again, fillable form fields. Type them up. A couple of drop-down menus before we head out of here. File, I'm in the upper third of the screen, left-hand side. We can go pick another form from the library. We can save the changes that we've made to our online form. We can export this form to a PDF, export it off or save it to our hard drives as a PDF. We can even print it to paper. So again, all these traditional delivery methods to print, and then here are your emailing and faxing features through the send. Send via email, send via fax, so you can deliver your typed up forms from your form editor. Email it or fax it. You are sender in name only. When you email it, it's coming from transactiondesk.com. When you fax, you don't need to be within 1,000 miles of a fax machine. It's internet faxing. You are instructing Transaction Desk to fax this completed form. Once it's completely faxed, you will get an email notification that the fax was successfully sent. So form edit mode, to type up and complete these online forms, deliver them out via email, fax, or print. Or as we'll see here in just a few more minutes, Authentisign to get the e-signatures. So you type up your form. I'm going to click here on Exit from Form Editor. Prompted to save your changes. Pop-up message. Please allow pop-ups from Transaction Desk. Yes, I want to save my changes. You will always be prompted if you have unsaved changes when you're trying to leave your form editor. But now notice, now we have a version of this addendum. Now we can come back and access this addendum. Now we can rename this addendum to our client's name or our property address. Now in this drop-down menu, we can do a lot of different things. Email, fax, start a new transaction file, copy the form as a PDF to our doc box. These are all features now within that drop-down menu to work with this existing form. Or create a new version for that next property or that new client. Forms Editor. Clicking back to return, middle third, left-hand side, clicking to return back to the Forms library. Last feature of the Forms library. Well, where is it now? And look how this folder is different than the others. And when I hover my mouse, it says it contains forms because I created a version. Unlike these where they're empty, I have not created any versions of that particular predatory lending form. I've not typed up one of those forms before. Can I? Yes. I click on the form name, create the new form, type up where the keyboard meets the contract. But again, this is the library view, and you start with blank forms, and you can type them up, you can print them out. What we want to focus on going here forward is I click back, upper third of the screen, left-hand corner, clicking back on that Home tab, leaving the library view. Now we're going to talk about transaction files. So that was forms, just one form at a time, print a blank or fill out a standalone form. I'm going to leapfrog documents and go to transactions, because this is really how we encourage you to use the Transaction Desk platform. Imagine that, using a transaction on Transaction Desk, because you're going to replace that manila folder filled with paper pages with an online transaction file filled with digital forms and document storage and digital signatures. So let's take a quick peek at a transaction file just before we get started with one. I'm going to click on that Sam Solar, again, active link. Sam Solar transaction file name is an active link. When I click on that link, it shows me the details of this transaction, the details, the contacts, the forms, the documents. So all of these are features of our transaction file. Top third of the screen, transaction, details page in black font. Just below that, you see details, and it's kind of a darker charcoal than the other tabs. That's the details that we're looking at now. And as I scroll down, address, city, state, zip can be imported from the MLS. We can add dates and details. The details that we add will autofill our form fields. So details. The next tab moving left to right is contacts. Your buyers and sellers, your clients, your cooperating agents, yourself, your office or broker. Again, so that this information will auto-complete or auto-fill the forms, which is the next tab here on a transaction file, forms. Access to that library of forms to import the 4, 5, or 10 forms that you're going to need for this client, this property, this prospect. Add them in. Auto-fill them with your transaction file details. I would like to. There's that phrase. Auto-populate update forms. Auto-populate forms is going to bring your details, your dates, and your contacts into your form field. It's going to map those details into your online forms. Save you some time, energy, and effort when typing them up. To access Forms Editor, you just click on the form name, and it launches that form into Forms Editor where the keyboard meets the contract. And we'll look at that here in just another 90 seconds. I want to talk about documents now, moving left to right through those tabs. Forms are online and fillable. Forms are in the form library. They're state forms, association forms, Fannie Mae forms. Documents are basically everything else. They're the signed contracts. They're the surveys and home inspections and settlement statements and payoff amounts and pre-qual letters. It's all that documentation that you're receiving throughout the sale process. You can scan and upload those documents back into your transaction file. So scan and upload is a feature. There's a fax back cover sheet feature. There's the AuthentiSign integration that's going to load final documents back into your transaction file automatically. So documents are really the ones that you need to save online for those state-required retention periods. Put them back in your transaction file, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from any internet-enabled device. Maintain them and manage them for those state-required retention periods. Last tab is History. Clicking on that History tab captures all of the activity that takes place within our transaction file. Time and date stamps when that action took place, and what the action was. Was it an updated field? Whatever happened is captured in the history of the transaction. So that is a transaction file. Again, from that little, I guess it's a kind of a taskbar, upper third of the screen, all those blue links, I'm going to click kind of center left there, clicking on Transactions to go back to that transaction page again, so that we can take a peek. I'm going to see if I can find a quick MLS ID here. Hopefully that one's still a good one. I'm going to pick that one because what I want to do is import 34074. 34074. I would like to, there's that phrase again, I would like to create a new transaction file. 34074. Clicking on the action arrow to go to that start page. We're going to start a new file. I think it was 30474. And we're going to import from the MLS to bring property information into this new transaction file. Show off that import, because maybe it is a buyer. Maybe Jessica James is our single-family residential buyer, and she's ready to make an offer. Now, I think you should start your transaction file before you're ready to make the offer, but certainly want to make it at that first substantive conversation. And everything here down is optional. The name in red font with the asterisk is the only thing that is required. Everything else is details that we're going to add to this new file, like the type of transaction, residential sale, like the MLS import that we're going to bring in that property information, details to this transaction. Other details that we can use are from transaction templates or previous transaction files. Again, ways to start adding details to your new file. And I'm a huge fan of templates. Templates will add details like a set of forms, like required documents. Those are what templates will allow you to do. A transaction template will allow you to predetermine what forms you want to have added to that residential sale file or that residential listing file. You create that residential listing template, populate that new file with forms and required documents. So templates are a good thing. We cover those in follow-up webinar sessions. Otherwise, we've been chosen as a selling agent. We chose residential sale. We're automatically added as a selling agent. We can change that to neither or both or even listing agent if it would be appropriate. Or otherwise, we're just going to click here on the Save Diskette in the bottom third of the screen, right-hand corner, clicking on Save. We're going to save this new transaction file. Transaction Desk is reaching out to the MLS. Hopefully it's going to find that MLS ID, and it's going to populate our transaction file with those MLS details. Address, city, state, zip, legal description, tax ID, all these details are going to populate into our new file. And this could take us 30 or 45 seconds. We see that it is spinning, so I just need to be patient. It was spinning, and just another moment or two, and it was populated in. So it reached out. It found that MLS ID. It populated this information into my new transaction file. Legal description, school district, parcel number, city, list price. And all this information has populated over from our transaction file. And I guess it'll even show that you can bring in sold properties. So that one sold a few years ago, but we can still populate our new file with it. Maybe it's a new listing, and we're just going to clean up some of that information, but copy over all that property detail. So that's the details page, and the information that we add here will autofill the forms that we're going to add in just the second step here. Contacts are next. Contacts tab, you can see that it's been auto-populated, and we've been added. And we're going to delete some of the multiples here, because that came in from our MLS import. But it's okay, because I would like to add, no. In this case, from my drop-down menu, I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete these contacts from our transaction file. They're duplicates that I don't need. Now I've got the set listing agent, listing broker, selling agent, selling broker. But I would also like, now I would like to add Jessica to our transaction file. Add transaction contact. I would like to. There's that phrase, action arrow. Well, what type of contact is Jessica? Well, she's a buyer. Jessica is a buyer that we are adding to our transaction file. This way, Jessica, I'm going to go with Jessica. You got to go with J, right? Triple J. Jessica James. It's Jasmine, her middle name. I got her cell phone number. Throw a little Austin at you with the 512. And an email address. Whatever information that you have about her, add in. Because not only are we going to save her to our file, we're also going to add her to our transaction desk contacts. Bottom third of the screen, left-hand corner, add to my contacts. Yes. So when I click on Save in the bottom right corner, bottom third right corner, when I click there on Save, Jessica's been added in. I've been added in, my broker, the listing agent, listing broker. If there was additional buyers, add them in separately, so that each will autofill those printed name fields, so that each will be an optional signing participant when we create our signing here. Add them in separately to your transaction files, but add in all the contacts that you need here in your file. Forms tab, clicking on Forms. We don't have any added to our transaction file yet, so we're going to add some, right? I would like to. There's that phrase again. Starting to get annoyingly consistent. I would like to add new form, click on the action arrow to access the forms library. We just looked at the library in the library view where we had access to one form at a time that we could type up or print out. Well, here's access to our forms library to import these forms into our transaction file. So which ones do we need? I'm going with the Minnesota residential forms. I'm just clicking on those little plus signs to expand those folders. Alphabetical order. You can see there's a little search feature at the top. We can search by form name, unique identifier. Otherwise, I'm just going to start picking a few here. Agency relationships. Got it. Scrolling down. Buyer facilitator, sure. Press and hold down the CTRL key. Press and hold that control key. Click to accept or select the additional form. Scroll down the page. Contract for exclusive right to represent. Seems like a good one I'll need. Press and hold control. Click to select. And again, I'm releasing the control key as I go through and search for additional forms. Maybe a financing addendum, conventional, press and hold control, click to select. Getting the idea? I just thought maybe I'd get down to that purchase agreement. There it is, press and hold, control, click to select. Add selected forms to our transaction, bottom third, right-hand corner. Access to every online form through your transaction file. And this is just the first time we can add forms. Anytime we need to come back to the file and add, update, or revise a form, we can. We're even going to show you here through Forms Editor how you can access your forms library and import more forms. So, Forms tab. Add the forms to your transaction file. I would like to. Now that we have forms, we have a full complement of features here. Auto-populate our forms. Click on the action arrow so that our details, dates, and contact information will populate those form fields. save us some redundant data entry by having all of our forms populated with our transaction details. Now we just click on the form name. We're going to start with that contract for exclusive right. It's a link. And when I click on the link, the form opens in Forms Editor, where the keyboard meets the contract. I'm going to verify the autofill. I'm going to type up the rest of the required and optional fields. And I'm not really going to spend any time here. If you have questions, please use the chat section of the GoToTraining sidebar. If that chat section has collapsed against the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a red block with a white arrow. In the top right corner of your computer screen, you'll see a red block with a white arrow. Click on that red block, white arrow. It will expand that GoToTraining sidebar. You can type questions into the chat section. Otherwise, again, just verifying Forms Editor. Type up the online form where the keyboard meets the contract. Type up all the required and optional fields, verifying that some of this has been populated with our transaction file details. But otherwise, go through, click your check boxes. Yes, it's residential investment or residential personal. And scroll through, typing up and clicking through and completing your forms and contracts, auto-filled with your transaction file details. As you complete one form, upper third of the screen, it's now a plus sign. I kind of clicked the minus sign as I was chatting before. Expand that window. Go from the exclusive right to the facilitators, clicking on that link. Prompted. Pop-up messages. Yes, save my changes to this form. Now to the buyer facilitator form. Type up all of your online forms. Type them up. Then you can decide, do I want to email, fax, print, AuthentiSign? We're going to cover the AuthentiSign portion as I exit here from Form Editor. And again, you really want to work just here in the Form Editor, really from this file and send and this little formatting menus here. Here's where you can access and add additional forms to our transaction file under that transaction drop-down menu. Add new form will access the forms library to select and add an additional form to this file. So all of these features are going to be working with these online forms. Last one, exit from Form Editor. Because we've typed up the form now, we're ready to move forward. You can, again, not to be overly redundant, but you can now email the selected forms or fax them or print them. So what does it mean selected? Middle third of the screen, left-hand side, I select, click in the checkbox for the agency, the buyer facilitator, and the exclusive right. They are now selected, and I can email those selected forms, I can fax them, or I can print them to a PDF. It will merge them together. This print selected to PDF will merge the forms together into one comprehensive PDF. You can then print that to paper, save it offline, send it as an attachment to an email message, but it's generating a merged PDF that you can take the next appropriate steps with. Traditional methods to deliver these typed up or completed forms. We're going with the future, the next step. Those may be traditional or conventional, but AuthentiSign and digital signatures are what's next. Top third of the screen, right-hand corner, AuthentiSign. Maybe I should even say it's what right now and next because the usage of digital signatures is becoming almost prolific within the real estate sale process. So we've now accessed AuthentiSign. This is the digital signature component of your member benefit. And we have no signings created to this point, but we can create a new signing. Upper third of the screen, the left-hand side, create new signing. Click on the hand with the pencil or pen to create the new signing. And you can create a blank signing. So if you're not working with transaction files, you can still create AuthentiSign signings. There are 5 simple steps to create a signing. Give the signing a name. Pretty simple. Second step, that's step 1, giving it a name. Step 2 is to add your signing participants. Step 3 is to import forms and upload documents into your signing. Step 4 is to plot where all the signature and initial requirements go. Step 5 is to finalize and send that invitation to your signing participants. So we're going to go through those 5 steps now, and we are going to import from a saved transaction. namely the transaction that we just created, Jessica James. For the same 5 steps, whether it's blank or imported from a transaction, it's the same 5 steps. Step 1, giving it a name. If it was blank, that name field would be blank. Because I'm importing from a transaction, it's giving my transaction name. I changed it to something that's going to be more specific to this signing event, the buyer representation, buyer rep. This name is going to follow. It's going to be included or referenced in the email subject line. Authentisign is going to send the email message. This name will be in that subject line of the message. This name will be the name of the final document. You can change that or rename the final document, but by default, Authentisign is going to use this name for the final document. So give your file a name. Click on the action arrow. Next step. Participants, signers, reviewers, and CC onlys. So who's participating in this signing? I'm going to add myself or Greg Wakar as a signer, as well as Jessica as a signer. We're just going to do this for now, but see that there are also reviewers and CC onlys, and think about that for 5 seconds as I add these contacts from our file, prompted from our transaction file. But again, if you're starting blank or the signer, reviewer, or CC only is not in your transaction file, simply click middle upper third, add new participant. By clicking on that action button, we're going to have an opportunity to add additional signing participants. This participant for me is Joan Lone, and I'm going to add her here from my transaction desk contacts. And you can see I remember when I saved Jessica to our contacts just previously, we added her to our file and checked the box to add her to our contacts. That's where she's been added in. But we chose Joan Lone, and Joan is going to be a CC only type. She is the loan officer. All I want is Joan to get a copy of the final document. Everyone who participates gets a copy. That's all Joan gets is a copy. Reviewer, they see the contract. They participate in the signing, but they have no signature requirements. They just review and accept the documents as written. Signer, hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. They have signature requirements or initial requirements on the forms and contracts. Joan's a CC only, and Joan is an other type. But see the other types in here: buyers and sellers, landlords and tenants, agents and brokers. We're going to choose the appropriate type because we have Authentisign templates that are looking for these signer types of buyers and sellers, of agents and brokers. And if the forms that we're importing have signature requirements for buyers or sellers or agents or brokers, those blocks will be automatically plotted. And we're going to see that here in just a bit. But mind that name. And one other thought, mind the type, because it is going to be used for the Authentisign templates. And mind the name, because for those signers, this is what Authentisign is going to use to start building those blocks. We're just building the blocks. The participant will create a signature style and click to accept. Well, I don't want to close. I want to add. Clicking here on add. Middle third, left-hand side, we're adding Joan as a CC-only participant to our transaction file. Now, in the instances where you have multiple signers, put them into the appropriate order. Authentisign uses an inline signing approach. In this case, Greg would receive the first invitation. He would create his profile or log into his Authentisign profile, complete, and then Authentisign would deliver the invitation to Jessica. Jessica would create her Authentisign profile, log into that profile, and complete. And then everyone would get a copy of the final document. So Authentisign uses that inline approach, so put them into the appropriate order. For our purposes here, I'm just going to remove myself from this signing just to keep it clean and so we can see that final document delivered back. Add, update, revise. Add your participants to your signing. Signers, reviewers, and CC onlys. Now it's time for the forms and documents. Action arrow, upper third, right-hand corner to import forms or upload documents. Prompted with our transaction file forms. We'll just choose those same 3 there and add the documents to our signing. But not only can we add the documents from our transaction file, which will be a applied with those signing templates. We can upload files. Upper third, left-hand side, upload a file. This will allow me to browse my computer storage, my C drives, my hard drives, my USB drives, and I can find those files that I want to upload into the signing. Big feature if you want to create that blank signing, to upload files. Search for them on your computer, upload them into your signing. But not only browsing, but also, remember that individual form that we created? We can select from our forms. We can pick from the individual forms that we've typed up previously. We can access them and add them into our signings as well. So whether you're typing up individual forms, forms within a transaction file, or need to upload files from our computer, those are all options to get the appropriate documents and forms into our signing. Next step, clicking on the action arrow 4. The fourth step is now plotting the signatures and initials. And I'm really starting to liken this, because a lot of you may do this today. You have those little stickies that, like little Post-it stickies that say sign here, or initial here, or date here. And sometimes you'll print out the packet and you'll just put those stickies everywhere there's an initial requirement or a signature requirement or a date requirement. You have the little Post-it sticky and you put it on the page. That's essentially what we're doing right now. We're putting these little sign here stickies onto the page. That's all we're doing. Jessica is going to be responsible for the signature. She's going to be responsible to click to accept. We have 10 pages of thumbnails on the left-hand side. Moving in clockwise fashion, navigation to zoom in or zoom out. To fit width is my favorite here, just because it seems to give it a nice ratio. Drawing tools, and I'm going to go on record here. Authentisign is not a form editor. You should have typed up the form already in Instinet Forms or another forms editor. You should have the form completed already. But if you need to make little changes, you need to strike something over, use that line annotation for strike over. Use that text annotation to put in a little text field. Do not try to fill out the whole form with these text fields. If you need to make a quick adjustment, make the adjustment. Signing party. Jessica is the highlighted signing party, and that is an important highlight to notice, because you're going to have multiple signing participants in your signings. You want to make sure that your participant is highlighted, and then you'll drag and drop the appropriate signature, initial, or other drag and drop blocks. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. We've got both the signature. These are the templates. The signature's been plotted. The initial's been plotted. Just because they've been plotted, though, I can still move them around. I can click and hold to kind of move it around. Same with the date field. I can click and move that. It's a little date stamp. Down below, you see the initial. I can slide that over just a smidge, so we can take those appropriate steps. I can also use the right mouse button. This is when I get to use that often underutilized right mouse button to click on this date stamp, or excuse me, to click on that block to reveal a right-click formatting menu, to delete the block if it's plotted incorrectly, or flip it, or add that date stamp or full name block, kind of a printed name for that signature block. So every one of these stamps or drag and drop blocks will have this right-click menu. If you're on a Mac device, just double-click. But PCs use that right-click to get that additional formatting menu. All of them, date stamps, signature, and initials, they all have those additional blocks. Page 2, from the thumbnail, click on page 2, scrolling up and down to see if there's any requirements for signatures and initials. We look clean. Page 3. And a lot of times it's just going to be verifying that they're plotted in the right place by these templates, or adding additional ones that are specific to the forms and contracts that you're working on. But we've got initial requirements there. And moving forward, last, what are we on, page 5? Again, you get the idea. Blocks are plotted. Just so you can see it happen, though. Jessica is the highlighted signing party. I'm going to click and hold to drag and drop that block onto the page. Right-click the block to add the date stamp. Click and hold to drag and drop an initial onto the page. Right-click to add a date, or let's put a name block here. add those formatting features. Drag and drop those blocks onto the page. Verify the templates have been applied correctly. Make any adjustments necessary. Plot your blocks. Put on your little sticky stamps. So as we go to the final step, next, action arrow, top center, next, all we're going to do is finalize and send. Is everything correct? Left-hand side of the screen, middle third, left-hand side. Signing name, step 1. I can go back to any of these steps. Step 2, participants. Step 3, documents. Step 4, plotting. These are all active links. I can go back to any step to add, update, or revise. I can customize the email message that's being delivered by AuthentiSign. AuthentiSign sends the email message. We are going to customize the subject line or message if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, I'm just going to add the buyer rep here. And we'll say something like, please review and sign or call with questions. So you can add those details. You can send this message to everybody or just to this participant. I'm going to save those changes. Customize that email message. You are sender in name only. AuthentiSign, when I click here, top third, right-hand side, when I click here to finalize and send, 2 times, because like any good program, it's not going to take our first as our final answer. Once I click finalize and send, AuthentiSign is going to deliver that email invitation to the first signing participant. We can come back. We can even reset it if we just like, oh no, I did something wrong. Middle third, right-hand side, the reset button. So we'll take us back to step 5. All the details that we've added will remain. Step 1, name. Step 2, participants. Step 3, forms and documents. But we can add, update, or revise any of it. But it's all there. We can click on the link of the signing name to reveal the details of that signing, where it is, what's the progress, access to resend a revision to a signing participant. Triple check, quadruple check those email addresses. Make sure that they are typed up correctly. But now we're going to go over. I'm going to tab over to our login. So now I'm the participant. Now I'm Jessica. I'm Jessica. I know my voice is a little deep for Jessica, but I'm Jessica, and I'm logging in. I just got a phone call from my agent saying that he emailed me some agreements to sign and so forth. You are sender in name only. You are sender in name only. The email message is coming from secure@authentisign.com. If you've triple verified that you spelled the email address correctly and your client is jumping up and down saying they haven't received, please have them check their spam or bulk email folders. We have no control over their email accounts or how their email providers filter messages. 9 times out of 10, it's going to show up right in the inbox. In those off instances, please have them check their spam and bulk folders. Otherwise, they're going to get that email message. AuthentiSign invitation, our buyer rep customization. They click to open the email. They can see the message that we left for them. If they see it, if they read it, they can click here on the words or click here on the big blue button to sign. Big blue button to sign. I think that's what most folks are going to do. They're going to see that image. They're going to click. And now is where they create their profile. This goes for you too as an agent. The first time that you invite yourself into a signing, you create your profile. The first time that one of your clients is invited into a signing, they create their AuthentiSign profile. That first profile is the signature. And like we can see here, this is a pre-selected or prefab fonts that they can choose from. Whatever's appropriate, they can choose that font style for themselves. Or they can create their own signature. Instanet Ink is the feature that's going to allow them to use this pen to create their own signature. So I'm going to do that. Jessica J. James. So it is much more personalized signature. If you like it, you stick with it. You click Next. If you like it, you click Next. If you don't, you refresh. Bottom third right-hand side, you click on those kind of circle arrows. It will refresh it. I'm going to stick with it. Clicking on Next, Initials, Jessica J. James. Approve. That's going to be my signature profile. I've added that signature profile. Incident ink or the prefabbed fonts. As a participant, I'm also going to create a password. Now, only I will know what this is, myself and AuthentiSign, if you will, because there are password retrieval tools. There's always password retrieval tools. But this is something that they create for their profile, and they agree that the signature is unique for our AuthentiSign and confirm and accept. When they confirm and accept, you as the creator receive an email notification that your participant has authenticated. That's the first step, is authentication, to log back in, or in this case, create our profile for the subsequent signings that we're going to participate in. Presented with the blocks, thumbnails on the left-hand side, click the Start Signing button, upper third of the screen, right-hand corner, Start Signing. AuthentiSign is going to locate and highlight the signing block. They just click to accept. When they click to accept, AuthentiSign goes to the next block. And I'm just going to quickly click through here. So even if the screen gets a little bit behind, I'm just going to keep going through. We've got 8 remaining. We've got 7 remaining. But you can see every time I click, it adds that signature profile. Click to accept. 6 remaining. 5 remaining. And I really think this is how most folks are going to sign. They're just going to go through and click to accept all of the blocks that have been plotted for them. After they click, they're going to go back and review. This is an optional checkbox. So in this checkbox, buyer wishes that broker arrange for closing. Yes, I accept that. I want the broker to arrange closing. I accept that initial. Buyer shall arrange qualified closing. Agent or buyer, no, I'm not doing it by myself. So when I click here, I'm going to decline that signature block. So it's only going to add it to the one that I accepted. Optional initials and optional signatures are available for that. Jessica, signature block. Last remaining to the click. Letting it catch up. Click to accept that final block. We have 0 items remaining to be clicked. But just because we have 0 items remaining does not mean that we have accepted the document. We can go back to page 1. We can now review everything that we just signed, and we can see our signature blocks and our date stamps. So I can read it. Okay, it sounds good. No, didn't like that part. I'm going to reject this signing. They still have that option to decline or exit and sign later. We're going to return to our signing. But just want to give you that sense that just because they've clicked to accept them all does not mean they're done. Until they click done twice, because they are going to be prompted to stay and review. When they click done, then complete, now they're done. Now AuthentiSign will deliver the invitation to the second signing participant, and we'll go through that linear order to make sure everyone signs this document to attain that final signed document. Little thank you for participating. Little thank you message. Closing that message. Email account, closing the email account, Paragon account, AuthentiSign account. Now, typically what happens when I go to refresh this page so we can see how that status has gone through, I get timed out, I pause my screen, and I re-log back in. And I'm just going to rolling up on that hour mark. I'm going to re-show my screen. We're back in our transaction desk account. We can certainly go back to that signing and click on the signing name to reveal those details. But what we can also do, and I'm going to do right now, is click here on transactions. Clicking back on transactions, because we're going to re-access that Jessica James file. Our transaction, remember, we can create new files, but we can also access our in-progress files. By clicking on that file name, that link, it's going to show me the details. And we looked at details and contacts and forms. Now let's look at documents. Everyone who participated in the signing got a copy of that final document. The client, the agent, the loan officer, even my transaction file. I have received that document back into my transaction file, integrated, saved online for state-required retention periods. I can re-access the document, review it, make sure it's appropriate. I can email it to somebody. I could save it offline. I can review all the features and the certifications and the signature panel, and I can see all the content of this signing. Signature panel, there's even a certificate that you can find within the signing. If your underwriter asks for a verification certificate, we have those. E-sign compliant, FHA approved, validated by Austin D Foundry, certified by GeoTrust, meets or exceeds all the federal guidelines for e-signatures in a real estate transaction. Final document automatically routed back to your transaction file. Upload documents back in, fax documents back in using the fax back cover sheet. Repurpose that old fax machine into a scanner because the fax back cover sheet utilizes barcode technology to convert paper faxes into PDF documents. The fax back will then deliver that PDF directly to your transaction file. So really 3 or 4 fundamental ways: scanning and uploading, authenticizing final documents, faxing back, and one that we didn't cover today that I hope we get to show you in future sessions is the DocBox print driver, ways to move documents back into your online transaction file. Save them there in your digital file, replace those manila folders with online transaction files. But with that said, I'm going to go back to the home, top third of the screen, left-hand side, going home. I'm going to re-raise this audio message. Very thankful for the opportunity to present. I do hope this webinar was a benefit to you. I want to point out a website and a couple addresses here, youtube.com/Instinet webinars. Our website for recorded content, 1 to 3 minute how do I sessions. They're not even sessions. They're 1 to 3 minute how do I videos. They're 5-minute overview tutorials and 60-minute webinar sessions on youtube.com/Instinet webinars. If you've watched some recorded and now you've taken a live, tungle.me/webinar Greg if you'd like something for your office, your team, yourself. They're much more interactive where we can talk to each other, discuss implementation strategies, just ask and answer questions tailored to the time that you have and the content that you would like to cover. tungle.me/webinar Greg. But otherwise, thank you so much for the opportunity to present, and until we webinar again, I hope you have a tremendous, tremendous day.